Yo, bitch, why you talking to that burning bush? Hey, I'm Mr. Wright, and welcome to Wright at the Movies. Today, I'm talking about Exodus, Gods and Kings. Still excited for Christmas? How about another feel-good Christmas classic like Exodus, Gods and Kings? You know the story. Or maybe you don't. Whatever. I don't care. The fact is, Moses is splitting the Red Sea again. Moses and Ramses are like brothers. When questions start being risen about Moses' origin story, Moses eventually gets kicked out of Egypt. He is chosen to be the leader of the Hebrew people in order to save them from the Egyptian slavery. Whatever. You all know the story. I'm not a religious person. And my review is not to compare it to the Bible. I'm going to review this like I review any other adaptation of a book, in which case, most likely, I have not read the book, and if the movie's logic is solid, then that's all that matters to me. I don't know how I feel about the cast in this movie. You know, you have Christian Bale, who is always a really good actor, and you have Joel Edgerton. There seems to be a certain lack of color. Christian Bale as Moses is good casting. He's a good actor, and you always seem to really believe in him. Joel Edgerton as Ramses, also really good. He's a good actor, and it still shows a very good two-sided argument between Moses and Ramses. Instead of Ramses just being like an evil bastard, it's clear that there are two sides, and neither of them really want to let the other one win. Sigourney Weaver, awesome as always, but she's only on screen for a few minutes and she only says a few lines. There isn't really a lot to her character. And then you have John Turturro, who is playing the Pharaoh, and it's laugh-worthy. He's ridiculous. You know, this guy, the world-renowned actor that gave us such classics as this, we're now supposed to be taken seriously, and I'm just not buying it. And you have Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Aaron Paul, usually like him. He's a good actor, and he's really likable. He doesn't do anything in the movie, basically. Like, he follows Moses around, and he watches him as he's talking to God when he's talking to the burning bush. Aaron Paul is watching him behind a rock, like this, just watching him. That's it. He does most of the movie, he just is like watching Moses. And then there's God, and he's played by a little kid. He's played by like a 12-year-old boy. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if there's some kind of message to that, or if Ridley Scott is just kind of just trying shit out. I don't understand it. I don't get it. This movie's been hit with a lot of controversy lately over its whitewashing of the cast, and I get it. I understand. It's not distracting during the movie, but the question still has risen. There was no better actors for this? There was no better actors that could have done these roles. I don't buy that. And it's not like these guys were all chosen for their superior acting, like John Turturro and Aaron Paul. There could have been some wonderful up-and-coming actors that could have took those roles. And yeah, the Ten Commandments isn't much better. That's full of white people, but that was shot in the 50s. This is 2014. I think we can accept more other colored actors in a movie based in Egypt. A lot of the non-white actors in this movie play slaves. It really sucks when you find out that one of your favorite artists or favorite directors or what have you is kind of a jerk in real life. When asked about the casting in this movie, Ridley Scott says, "I can't mount a film of this budget where I have to rely on tax rebates in Spain and say that my lead actor is Mohammed so-and-so from such and such. I'm just not going to get it financed." So the question doesn't even come up. So as this nearly 3-hour-long movie keeps going, you really do start to fall into its world, and you really love it after a while. At least I did. It's really, really memorable, and every single moment is very well thought out, and everything feels so lived in. Just like Ridley Scott's last venture into this kind of territory, Gladiator. It's beautiful, and every single moment of film is just gorgeous, and you really feel the world. This feels like Egypt. Beautiful camera work and settings. The whole movie is just gorgeous. Even the CGI that's added in afterwards flows with it perfectly. You won't even notice it. Moses keeps asking Ramses to let his people go. Ramses won't let it happen. So God starts moving things forward. God gets impatient, which when he's a 12-year-old makes sense. Doesn't have much of a attention span. So he just starts adding in all these horrible disasters to Egypt. You know, there's alligators that eat all the guys. There's alligators that eat all the fishermen, and then the rivers run with blood, and then all the fish die, and then frogs come up out of the water, and then there's flies eating the frogs, and it's like, wow, there's so much craziness going on. It's scary, it's terrifying, it's some of the best, it's no doubt the best scene in the movie. It really brings home the fact that Ridley Scott is really good at directing horror. The movie is a little long, but it delivers on that idea of old-timey Hollywood with their huge epic style movies. Like 10 Commandments or Ben-Hur, in which case they're like 4 hours long and there's an intermission in the middle, and it's just with a cast of hundreds of thousands of people all in this movie. And this really reminds you of that, but with some weird casting decisions and some really oddball pacing. This movie doesn't quite pull you in the same way that you would want it to. And it's overshadowed by Ridley Scott's much earlier movie, Gladiator, that was made 14 years ago. That movie is still much better and much more of an experience than this. 14 years ago. CGI isn't everything. I gotta give this movie one thumb down. If you're at all curious about this kind of subject matter, watch the 10 Commandments. It's still probably the best way to ever have told this story. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Mr. Wright. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.